Hello and welcome to another JavaScript tutorial video. In the previous video, we talked about how we can write our JavaScript code. So the first method is to write your JavaScript code inside the HTML file using script tags. And the second way is to use an external file. Okay, you can write your code in a JavaScript file and then include that file in your in your HTML code. Okay, so these are the two ways how you can write your JavaScript code. In this video, we're going to see how we can create variables and constants, and also we're going to cover various data types in JavaScript and few more things. Okay, so let's get started. So this is where we last left. We have an index.html file and a script.js that I have included in my HTML code. So we'll head to our script.js and I'll show you how to create a variable. To create a variable in JavaScript, you use let keyword. Again, then you write the name of your variable. So let's say create a variable here, and then we'll just give it some value. Okay, and let's print it out. Okay, let's see. So I just head to JavaScript here. Okay, so here you can see it prints my name. Okay, I'll just reload it again for you so you can see. So it just prints my name. Okay, now head back to our VS Code. So this is how you create a variable. Okay, using let keyword. You must have also seen where. Okay, so it is short for variable. Okay, in the previous versions of JavaScript, in the previous versions of JavaScript, so in the previous versions we used to have this where. Okay, but now in ES6 and above we use the let keyword. Okay, so make sure you use this let keyword to create a variable. Now there are some notations that you need to remember while naming your variable. The first rule is that your variable name cannot start with a number. Okay, so you see it gives me an error here. So this is the first thing. Your variable can have numbers at the end or at the middle, anywhere you want, but it cannot start with a number. Okay. Second thing is that there are only two special characters that are allowed. So the first one is the dollar sign and the second one is underscore. So these are the only two special characters. So I'll show you how. You can put it here. Okay, and let's see if it works. So it again prints my name. Okay. Similarly, you can use underscore. Okay, so let me just put it here. Okay, so you see it just prints my name. So these are the two things that you need to remember. The first is that your variable name cannot start with a number, and second, only two special characters are allowed, and you can put them anywhere at the start, at the in between, or you can put it at the end. I guess these are the two rules. Now you can also use constants. Okay, you can create constants. So what constant is? Constants, when you create it, its value cannot be changed, unlike a variable. So if I were to say const by equal to 3.14 and let's change its value to 7, let's see. So if I were to change it, it will just give me an error. Okay, so let's go to the console. So you see it says assignment to constant variable, line number 3. So this is the line number 3. Okay, so we cannot reassign a constant. Once a value is assigned to a constant, we just cannot reassign it. Okay, so this is how you create a variable and a constant. Now let's talk about various data types. So the first one we'll talk about is a string. So this is how you create a string, okay, using single quotes. So you can also use double quotes if you want. Okay, so I'll just show you. You can use double quotes, so it will say the string. This is the type. Okay, the second one is number. So let's say if you were to save this number, so it will tell you it's a number, or if you want you can also have decimal values. So again it will say it's a type number. So this is how you can create a string and a number. Okay, now the third data type is Boolean. So it can have a value true or false. So let's say that yes equal to true, Okay, so this is how you can create a Boolean variable. So it says that yes, and it says the data type Boolean. Okay, so these three are the basic data types. Okay, so I'll just print all the values so you can just see for yourself. And again, alert, say yes. So if I were to go to my browser, says first name is not defined. Okay, then must be capital. So it says my name here, and then says that number 331.34, then says true. Okay, similarly you can just change these values if you want, because these are variables. If I were to create a constant, so you cannot change its value, we have already seen it. I'll just show you again. So if you were to say hello world, so it will just give me an error. I'll just inspect it again, go to the console. So just refresh it. So it says assignment to constant variable, line number 10. So this is how you can use variables and constants. Okay, and we've also covered the different data types. There are two more data types, null and undefined. Okay, so now what they are, let's see. If I were to create a variable, let's say first name. Okay, let's just declare a variable and let's print it out. Okay, so it will give you undefined. Okay, because the variable is only declared here, and it does not have any value inside it as of now. So if I were to go to my Chrome, it says undefined because it does not have any value inside it. Okay, so every time you create a variable and you are not assigning any value, it will just say undefined. And if I were to say null, so null means nothing. Okay, so it will just say null. Okay, null is kind of value. Okay, but the value is itself nothing. Okay, now what you can do is, let's say if you were to say first name, then we are printing, then we are saying first name equal to null. Okay, and if I were to print it again, so I'll just refresh it again. Okay, so it says right here 10, and then if I were to say okay, then it says null. Okay, so you can assign a value null. You can also say undefined, but it is not a good practice. Okay, undefined is used only when you are creating a variable, but you know, only when you're not assigning a value to it. So it says undefined, but you should not assign a value undefined to it, even though it won't give you an error. Okay, if I were to say okay, then it says undefined, but this is something that we avoid, because undefined uh, is used only when we are, it is actually fixed that if you are just creating a variable and not initializing it, it will have a value undefined. Okay, so even though we are assigning it a value and then we are assigning undefined to it. Okay, so these are the basic data types. Okay, now if there are three more things, one of which is alert. So if you were to show any message, you would say alert, and you can just pass any message inside it. Okay, so if I were to reload the page, it says hello world right here. Then there is this PMT prompt. So it takes two values. Okay, so the first one is a message. Okay, so if I were to say, let's see, it's hello world. Okay, so now if I were to say hello world, and now it gives you a input field. Okay, it gives you an input field. You can just type anything you want. Okay, so I'll show you something. Let's create a variable here. Let's name equal to. So now when you enter, I'll just show you again. So let's save it and let's head back to our Chrome and let's refresh the page. So there is this first thing, the alert. Okay, now if I just okay, now it says hello world. This is the prompt that we are talking about now. So it asks user for an input. So if I were to say my name here, so my name will be stored in the variable that we have created here. Okay, so let's print name again, so you will know what I'm talking about. So if I were to say Shubh, so it says my name here, right? Also, you can pass a default value. So this is the message that is displayed. Then whatever you want to print inside the dialog box, inside that input. So you can say, let's say you can say anything you want. Okay. So now it says enter your name. So this is the text that we wrote right here. Okay, so you can just type it, and if the user does not delete it and it says okay, so that value will be stored in this variable right here. By default, whatever you pass here, it will be stored in it if the user press okay. Okay, these are the two things, and then the third one is confirm. Sorry. So confirm is kind of if you want a confirmation from the user. So let's say are you the boss? Okay, and let's create a variable. Okay, and let's delete all this. So now it will ask me a question: are you the boss? And let's see what it does. Okay, so I just refresh it again. Now it asks me that are you the boss? I'll cancel it. So it says false. Now if I were to refresh it again and it asks are you the boss, I'll say okay, it says true. Okay, so it just waits for the user input. Okay, two inputs only you can have. The first one is true or second one is false. Similarly for this prompt, you can use it to take the input from the user. Okay, and alert is used to just show a message. Okay, so I'll just repeat it once again. Alert is used to show a message to the user. Prompt is used to show a message as well as to get some input from the user. And third one, this confirm is used to just, it also kind of displays a message and just asks if if that thing is correct or not. Okay, so these are three things. Now when we talked about the data type string, there is uh, one thing that I skipped, so I'll just go over it for you now. So let's create a string here. Let's call this variable a first name. So I told you that you can use single quotes or you can use double quotes. There's one more thing, you can also use backticks to create a string. So if I were to say this, okay. So if I've created a variable here, let first name equal to my name using backticks. Okay, so you can find backticks adjacent to the one key on the top of your keyboard on the left side. Okay, there is this backtick. So now if I were to print it, so it will just print my name. Okay, no problem there. But what backticks are used for is I'll show you. So let's change it to double quotes or single quotes. Single quotes or double quotes are just same. You can use anyone you want. Okay. Now, if I were to say hello and then print the value whatever is inside this variable. So if I were to say hello here and now I want to use this variable. Okay, so if I just write this variable here, it will just give me an error because there's no way I can concatenate these two values, right? That will just give me an error, expected comma. Even if you put comma here, so I don't know if it will work. So you see, it just gives me hello. Okay, I'll just refresh it again, so it won't work. Okay, it just says hello. Now how to print the value whatever is inside this variable. So there comes backtick to our rescue. Okay, so now what I'll say is hello. Okay, now what we'll do is to print the value whatever is inside this variable, we'll say dollar sign and then we'll use these parentheses, not parentheses, curly braces, sorry. And then inside that we'll write the name of our variable. Okay, so this is how you can use a variable, okay, inside a string. If you want to print the value of a variable inside a string, so this is how you can do it. So now it will say hello. show my name. Okay, so backtick just gives you an extended functionality. Okay, so you can use it to print the variables. Just keep in mind that uh, you need to print using this $sign and these curly braces, and in between these curly braces you write your variable's name. Okay, so these are the things. And yeah, one more thing. I skipped. Okay, yeah. So one more thing I skipped. So while going through the data types, okay, we discussed numbers, right? So let's say there's this number that I've created. Okay, so if I were to print this number, so it will just print this number, right? Now there is this limit when it comes to storing numbers. Okay, so I'll show you what it is. So this is the largest number that you can use. If I were to print this, so it will work perfectly fine. Like it will give me this number. Let's say let's increase a value here. So you see these three dots just appeared out of nowhere, right? I'll just zoom in it for you. So if I were to say one again, so there's no dot here. If I were to say 2, so it will just give me the dots. Let's see what it says. It says that the value cannot be greater than 2 to the power 53, right? Now this number has become so big that it cannot be represented using simple integer, right? So now JavaScript comes to our rescue and it says, okay, I have another data type that you can use, and whenever you're using a value which is greater than this thing, that is 2 to the power 53, okay, you can see here 2 to the power 53 minus 1, or less than minus 2 to the power 53 minus 1. So this is the biggest number, okay, from the negative to the positive. Okay, so if I were to use a number bigger than that, I need to put n at the end. Now I'll just show you one thing. If I were to have this number, so let's see the data type, what it says. It says number right here. Okay, if I were to say small n now, so even if I were to use this number only, so it will change its data type and it will say big int here. Okay, so you can store a very big number in here. You can just Google it. I don't remember the exact value, obviously. So it says big int now. Okay, so now if I were to print this, it will just give me that number. Okay, so you can increase so many digits. So now it will just represent it. Okay, and there is one more thing. Okay, one not a it's not a data type, but it's something that you should know. Type of. Okay, so let's create a variable here. Let's undo it. And if I were to say, let's print something. Let's alert. Let's use alert. Okay, let's see what it gives. It gives us big int because we know that we're using a big int. You see this n at the end, right? Now if I were to change this, and let's see what it does. So it says number. Similarly, if I were to create a string here, okay, so if I were to check the type of this, so it will say a string. Okay, similarly if I were to say yes, and let's change this to false, so it will say, what it will say. Okay, I didn't change the name here. Now if I were to check it again, it will say Boolean. Did I save it? Yes, I did. So it says Boolean right here. So type of is used to just get the type of the variable. So whatever the variable you are using, you can just use type of. It's kind of operator to check what is the data type of your variable. So you see this, how you can write it. Just write type of and then give a space and then the name of the variable you want to check the type of. Okay, so these are the things that I wanted to discuss in this video. Okay, in the next video we'll talk about operators and functions. Let's see. So these are the things that that's it. So hope you like this video. Please like, share and subscribe. See you guys in the next video.